This video is meant to be an overview of some of the more advanced features of the SOFIA Science Archive at IRSA. The first video went through some of the basic things that you need to do to search. I'm not going to review those here. I'm going to assume you've already seen that video and you're ready for some more advanced stuff. You can do a multiple position search at the SOFIA archive. However, it is really easy to time out on the search. So especially if you have a long list of targets, I recommend that if you upload that long list of targets, that you put some additional constraints, like only limit it to searching one instrument at a time, because otherwise you'll be very frustrated because you'll probably time out before you get to search all of your targets. Your target list does need to be an IPAC table format, which is just plain text, but has a particular header on it. Let's put that back where it was. Let's do a solar system search. Under the hood, what's going on is that everything is tied to the NAIF ID. So even if you have a really famous object like Neptune, you still need to pick the NAIF ID from that drop-down list, because everything under the hood comes back to that NAIF ID. Let's go ahead and search. So it came back with a whole bunch of AORs for Neptune. And it says here that there's some from Forecast, Hawk Plus, FIFI-LS. So let's look. There's Forecast. There's data in the Forecast tab. And there's Hawk Plus. There's Hawk Plus data in the data tab there. FIFI-LS. Let's see. Surprisingly, there's no data found. This seems surprising to me too. But you see, if we go back to the search, we asked it for only level 3 and level 4 data. And my guess is there aren't any level 3 and level 4 data from this project that made it through the pipeline. So if you want to download these data, you're not going to be able to do so from the individual instrument tab. You'll have to select it from here, which is another important thing to emphasize. If to prepare download, when you prepare download from the AOR tab, you get a lot more data than if you do it from the instrument tab, because from this level, it's going to give you all data levels associated with the AOR. If you do it from the individual tab that's here, you're going to get the data product that you've selected, not all of the ancillary data that go with it. So that's a really important thing to note. The other thing that's important is that from here, you can not only get things like the abstract from the original program or any quality assessment information, but when the SOFIA Science Center was still operating, they provided to us a link to the publications list that goes with those data. This hasn't been updated since the SOFIA Science Center no longer exists, but if we had a publication that went with those data, they are linked in as part of the archive. So let's go to the Precovery tab. Okay, so what is Precovery? Precovery is looking for serendipitous observations of a target. So you put in the name of an object, and just like for any other solar system objects, you have to pick the object from the drop-down so you can get the NAIF ID. It then goes to the database, gets the orbital elements, it calculates, given the orbital elements of Neptune, any observations in the SOFIA archive that could have possibly serendipitously or deliberately caught Neptune. Because this is a potentially complicated calculation, these results can take a long time to obtain. But you can find serendipitous observations that includes pre-discovery observations of a new moving object, which is why it's called Precovery. While that's continuing to search, I'm going to go over to the IRSA homepage and go to the SOFIA mission page. There's also an abstract search here. So you can use this to search through all of the abstracts that were submitted to SOFIA. So if you're interested in Orion, you can search on Orion, and then you'll get all of the abstracts that involve the word Orion. Then, based on the proposal ID here, you can either make a note of that proposal ID and then search on that proposal ID, or if you click on that, it will launch a search in the SOFIA archive, because you can search by plan ID. It will launch a search for that plan ID or that program ID to get all of the observations associated with that program loaded in. In this case, all of the observations were FIFI-LS observations, so they're all here, and you can explore the data here. This kind of search also highlights the all sky search choice. So if you do an all sky search, you can get all of the observations associated with a program, or you can get all of the observations taken between 2 dates or on a particular flight, or all of the observations taken by a particular instrument between 2 dates, for example. I'm sure you can imagine certain situations in which those kinds of searches would be useful. For example, if you needed to reprocess data from a particular flight, or you needed to go and obtain the data that were taken immediately prior to yours, all of those things can be obtained via these kinds of searches. Let's reset the search and let's do a regular search on M17. And let's just search to get that moving. Let's see if the pre-covery search came back. It did. So the red is the calculated orbital path, and the pink are the individual frames that it found in the SOFIA archive that overlap with the Neptune orbital path. Just like all the other search results, it's interactive. So you can find the individual frames from here, or you can click on them in the image. And you can find the data preview by going to the Data tab. Let's go back and see if this search has come back. Indeed, we've got some forecast data here. So if I go to the Data tab here, one thing I might be interested in obtaining is catalog data from elsewhere at IRSA. So I go to this icon, I can add additional tables. I can, for example, go to the Catalogs tab. I can go and search in WISE. Instead of cone, I can do polygon, and that's the corners of the image that I'm looking at. Search. Now it's overlaid on top of this image all of the WISE sources that it could find in this region of the sky. We can also do that for Spitzer. See if it can find more sources. So the red is WISE and the green is Spitzer. You can change the colors if you want. There's other movies and all sorts of online help that will help you make those changes. You can also change what's plotted. If you go to the Chart tab, right now it's just plotting RA and DEC for those catalogs, but you can change what's plotted. You can plot color magnitude, color diagrams, for example. There are other things you can do here too. You can use the VOTAP services to search IRSA's holdings, or you can use NED, the NASA Extragalactic Database, for a search, or you can do multi-archive VOTAP searches. Let me highlight this. So VO is Virtual Observatory. TAP is Table Access Protocol. This is just a fancy interface when you use IRSA services like this. It's the same kind of search that you're doing here, but with a more sophisticated interface. You have much more control here over the kinds of searches that you do, and you can search other VO services all over the rest of the world with all sorts of other archives. And if you're used to ADQL, you can configure a difficult search using this interface and then populate and edit the ADQL. This is the ADQL that corresponds to the search that I configured. Then I can copy and paste this, say, into Python code. Unfortunately, it doesn't go the other direction. You can't configure this and then go back and have that information propagate back here. Those are some of the more advanced features found in the SOFIA archive. Don't forget, there is online help with lots more information about the things I've highlighted and even more.